1 ball and 2 strikes, and the pitch from Kane. A swing and a dribbler down the third baseline. Fielded by Arias. He stumbles. He throws to first. It's in time. This game is over. And Matt Cain is authored the 22nd perfect game in Major League Baseball history. And the Giants come racing out of the dugout to mob him near the mound. 27 up, 27 down. The 9th perfect game in National League history. It was Matt Cain's night from the beginning. And a ground ball to third off the bat of Jason Castro was played perfectly to first to end this one. And 42,000 plus here in San Francisco celebrates. And the pitch to Martinez, ripped to left. This ball's hit a ton. When it lands, it'll score 4. And that's a grand slam from J.D. Martinez. Several rows up in the bleachers in left. One big swing has made it 5-0 Astros. Corporan swings and drives one to right. Back to the fence. This ball's going to go. Goodbye. Off the facade of the upper deck. Carlos Corporan is homered against Halladay. And sprinting around the bases, and he has made this a 1-run game.
To the top of the 9th here at AT&T Park in San Francisco. Giants leading Houston 10-0. And Matt Cain has retired all 24 Astros hitters he's faced tonight. And from the 2nd, the bottom of the 8th inning ended. A sellout crowd of 42,000 plus rose to their feet, screaming, making noise. They can't wait to see what transpires here in the 9th when Bogasevic, Snyder, and the pitcher's spot are due up. Cain has struck out 14, including Bogasevic, the last time he stepped in. This will be pitch number 115 tonight for Matt Cain. Here it is. And Bogasevic swings and fouls one at the plate for strike 1. As Dave mentioned last inning, there have been 4 no-hitters thrown against the Houston franchise, including one in 1963 by Juan Marichal at Candlestick Park. Here's an 0-1 pitch. Bogasevic takes it. It's just off the corner. A fastball at 92, and the fans reacting with each pitch that isn't called a strike. But no pitcher has ever thrown a perfect game against the Colt 45s or Houston Astros. It's 1-1 to Bryan. Here's the pitch. That came way in. Not that far from hitting him. Cain has been the beneficiary of 2 outstanding plays. One by Blanco, robbing Schaefer back in the 7th. Another by Cabrera, making a catch near the top of the fence in left, and a long smash hit by Snyder. Here's a 2-1 pitch, swing a foul right at the plate. Bogasevic at a piece, but now he sees the count go to 2-2. Matt Cain threw a 1-hitter here in San Francisco back in April when the opposing pitcher got the lone hits. Takes a deep breath before he's ready to throw the next one here to Bogasevic. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. High fly in the air down the left field line. Cabrera is there in fair territory. Crosses the chalk in a foul ground, but makes the catch. 1 out in the 9th inning for Chris Snyder.
Brad Mills has one decision really left to be made. He's got Castro, Downs, Maxwell. 3 men available on his bench to bat in the final spot of this order.
Looks like it's Castro. He's out on deck. Here is Snyder. Looked like Chris had a home run back in the 6th inning when the ball came off the bat, but Cabrera caught the long drive against the fence in left. Cain's pitch. He throws the breaking ball, and it carries outside and misses. Outfield slightly around towards left against the Houston catcher, batting with 1 out in the top of the 9th inning. Cain's next pitch on the way, and Snyder hits one high in the air, but playable left field. Cabrera waiting for that one to descend. He's got it. 2 outs in the 9th inning. And it's up to Jason Castro. Jason Castro faced Matt Cain a couple of years ago and hit his first big league home run against this Giants right-hander at Minute Maid Park. Tonight, He bats with Kane having retired all 26 Astros he has faced. Kane had 121 pitches as Castro steps in. Matt Kane ready in his pitch. The fastball is a called strike at the knees on the outside corner. The former Rice Owl product, Phil Umber, threw a perfect game earlier this season for the Seattle Mariners. Kane 1 out away here tonight to the 0-1 pitch, and Castro looks at one up and out for a ball. Kane has already struck out a career-high 14. He has faced 26 Astros and retired all 26. Castro batting with a count of 1-1. And Kane, the right-hander, ready. Here's his next pitch, and that one is a called strike at the knees on the outside corner. He's 1 out away. He's 1 strike away. And even Kane, who has barely broken contact with the rubber, took just a second or two to collect himself back behind the hill. And Jason Castro doing the same as he steps out. Castro back in the box. 1 ball and 2 strikes, and the pitch from Kane. A swing and a dribbler down the third baseline. Fielded by Arias. He stumbles. He throws to first. It's in time. This game is over. And Matt Kane is authored the 22nd perfect game in Major League Baseball history. And the Giants come racing out of the dugout to mob him near the mound. 27 up, 27 down. The 9th perfect game in National League history. It was Matt Kane's night from the beginning. And a ground ball to third off the bat of Jason Castro was played perfectly to first to end this one, and 42,000 plus here in San Francisco celebrates. When Arias stumbled a bit on that ground ball, I thought maybe he might have a difficult throw, but he set himself long enough to make the strike across the diamond. It was in time to get Castro, and again, Matt Kane has the 2nd perfect game this year in baseball, the 22nd in Major League history. There were a couple of great plays made behind him tonight, Dave, but for the most part, he was dominant.
Well, anytime you see a performance like we witnessed tonight, you're going to have a couple of important plays made behind you. They take nothing away from what he did. He threw strikes all night. He attacked this Astros lineup. He piled up the strikeouts, a career high. Couple of good swings for the Astros. But Matt Kane, a guy who has, I think, long been considered one of the best pitchers in the league, at least among people who have had an opportunity to really see him work or who look at the numbers beyond the wins and losses, because those have never reflected what kind of a pitcher he is. Still a very young man at 27 years old, and he is now a part of Major League Baseball history. And these 42,000 plus, they will never, ever forget this night.
Never forget they're here. Brandon Belt put the ball in his pocket for safekeeping as he ran to the mound to celebrate with Kane and his teammates. Bruce Bochy just gave Kane a huge hug out on the mound. 125 pitches for a perfect game tonight against the Houston Astros in a 10-0 win. Indians 1, Astros nothing as we go to the bottom of the 5th. It will be Bogusevic, Johnson, and Castro here against Jenmar Gomez, who has retired all 12 Astros he's faced. Couple of strikeouts. He'll look at Bogusevic, who flied out to rather deep left center his only time in. One of the better struck balls here this afternoon, but it was tracked down by Johnny Damon. Damon had a big hug for Mills yesterday before the game. You could imagine they have some history together. And Bogusevic swings and drives one to right center field. This ball's down for a base hit. The first Astros hit. And extra bases. Bogusevic will head to second and stop there. So Brian in the cleanup spot today. Had a good swing earlier, but this time rips a double to right center. The first Astros base runner here this afternoon.
Well, I'm glad I was on record an inning earlier. I didn't think this guy had that kind of stuff. I mean, he's pitched awfully well. But now here you are. after that base hit. One single away from this being a tie game again.
Absolutely, and it'll be Chris Johnson who struck out looking his only time in. We talked yesterday about mid-game, about some of the offensive struggles, mostly centering around strikeouts, because we were watching Ubaldo Jimenez throw a lot of changeups and throw breaking pitches, stay away as best he could from throwing fastballs, whether in fastball counts or at all. Now, you had him on the postgame show. I thought he was very forthcoming, offered up a lot, and he basically implying that was the scouting report they wanted to put in.
Yeah, no, he was pretty clear about that. Throw these guys a lot of off-speed stuff.
So now with the man in scoring position, here's Johnson. He tries to bunt, bunts one off his foot in the batter's box, right back to the mound. That's a foul ball on strike one.
Not a surprise, though, either, was it? I mean, we've been noticing the same thing. I mean, that's an effective way, usually, to combat a young, aggressive team. And the Astros, they started the year like gangbusters offensively, and they've been swinging aggressively all year, and lately they've had to make some adjustments.
So with the count 0-1, let's see what Gomez wants to do. Right in there, ready in the pitch, and Johnson rips one down the left field line. That ball's fair. It's into the corner. It'll tie the game as Bogusevic comes plateward. Johnson in at second. Back-to-back doubles. It's a 1-1 game in the fifth inning. RBI number 28 for Chris.
Got a fastball. And these guys, whether Chris Johnson, Jose Altuve, JD Martinez, I don't know, go down the list. That's what they're looking for. That's what they want. That fastball may be left a little bit up, and it doesn't matter what struggles the hitters have been going through. If they get a pitch like that, a pitch that they're looking for and want to hit, well, they're going to hit it. And Johnson smashed that ball.
So now let's see if Castro can knock in CJ and put the club ahead. It has been a long time since they've had a lead. Castro bounced to short. Back in the second. And the pitch to Jason is hooked in the air. Down the left field line. Foul territory. Pursuing his Damon. It'll bounce on the track and hop up into the seats. Club didn't score yesterday. They didn't have a lead back on Wednesday. They were shut out on Tuesday. So the last time they had a lead is on Monday night when they finished off the 9-7 game, and they had to do so by watching the Royals score 5 times in the ninth and load the bases. And you mentioned it before, that the one thing this club has done this year, above all else, is play good baseball at home. So to go through a skid this long where you haven't had a lead has been more than frustrating, but they've tied the game here in the fifth. It's 0-1 to Jason Castro on the pitch from Gomez, and he drops one downstairs that misses.
Of course, fans know it's tough to score runs here in the Astrodome. Always has been. Oh, wait a minute. Just feels like that. The flashback Friday, we had the Rainbow Unis.
Joe Morgan.
Yeah.
Here's a 1-1. Castro watches ball 2, drop down and in.
I was asking Brad Mills about it today. The same thing we were just talking about. I told him, I said, Ubaldo told me last night after the game that the scouting report is pretty clear. Throw you guys soft stuff. And your hitters will be a little aggressive, and they'll probably get themselves out. And, and he acknowledged that that's a little bit of a problem, and they've just got to learn to be more patient. Go back to the way they were in that first month of the season.
Here's a 2-1 pitch to Castro. He gets a fastball, and he sprays it foul third base side into the second level of seats.
If you can work the count to your advantage, you can force a pitcher to give you that pitch you want. You can get him into a fastball count. Now, the good pitchers, the really good ones, are able to throw that fastball then just so it's close enough you'll want to attack it, but you probably won't be able to do much with it. And I thought that's what Jimenez did really well yesterday.
Yeah, he had a pretty good stretch going, despite the fact he only went 6 2/3. Count's going to 2-2 to Castro on the pitch way inside, a little bit low. Of course, Jimenez's numbers now in this ballpark are really off